When crocheting these artificial bird nests, what I prefer to have are 2 different colors of yarn. I prefer to have 2 different ones because it is easier to keep track of whenever you're in the middle of your crochets. So we're going to start off with a slip knot. We're going to measure about a finger's worth of excess string and then leave the rest of your yarn here. What I'm going to do is separate and have it in between my pointer finger and my middle finger and keep the rest looped under my ring finger or over my ring finger. And I'm going to twist the loop towards my body to create this kind of figure 8 look here. And I'm going to reach through with my thumb and my pointer finger, and I'm going to hold on to this small string here, but I'm going to pull with the rest of the longer string here. So I'm going to hold here, and then I'm going to pull, and then there you have a slip knot. And this is adjustable. If you want it bigger, you can. And if you want it smaller, you just have to pull this string again, the shorter strands. And there you go. And you want to make sure it's tight. So hold your knots. And you can go ahead and put your hook in once it's a good size, like so. Now we're going to create 3 single crochets. So to do one, we're going to go under the yarn and make sure the hook goes over the yarn, and then we're going to pull through the loop. So again, we're going to go under, over, and pull through. And that is 2, so we have 1 more. Under, over, and pull through. So those are our 3 single crochets. So that's 1, 2, and 3. We're going to go back into 1, which is right above the knot right here in this hole. And we're going to create a loop. So we're going to go back into this one here, and if you separate it, it should create this kind of U look. Then you're going to go ahead and pull the yarn through, pull it through again through the second loop you created, and then we're going to go back into this hole right here that we've created. So go back into that hole, pull the yarn through, and now we're going to make 6 crochets. So this is 1, back into the hole here, pull the yarn through, pull through both loops, that's 2. Here's 3. There's 4. 5. And then 6. So what you've kind of made is a little ring here. And once you've done 6, you're going to go into this little crochet right here. We're going to go under these 2 strings that are here first for you. So we're going to go under, and we're going to start off with an increase. So an increase means you go into the same loop that this is going to be our starting loop. We're going to go into this loop twice and have 2 crochets in it. So under, over, hook, and through the loop. So that's 1, and then we're going to go back into the same one, and we're going to do it again. And that's our increase. See how it's thicker here? And it's okay to have this hole here because we're going to fix it in the end, or might not even show in the end. We're going to do that all the way around whenever we get back to the start. To keep track of where we start, I'm going to use a little clip that I have just laying around. Or actually, if you don't have those crochet hooks, I just use a little barrette or a little hair clip, just so that way I know where I started. So I started right here. And this will tell me when to start a new pattern. So what I'm going to do is do an increase all the way around for this round only. So we're gonna go into this top right here, this little ridge, and we're gonna go under the loop, and then we're also going to go under this piece of yarn here, and then it has 2 loops through, and then we're going to just make a single crochet. And then you see this gap here, we go under that again to create the increase. And we're going to do that all the way around. And make sure you're under only 2 pieces of yarn. If you go under 4, it'll ruin your pattern. So we're gonna go under 2, create a loop, and then go through both loops. And that was 1, and here's 2. There's 1, here's 2. And then when you get more comfortable, you don't have to do the whole loop, you can just pull it through. Okay, we're about to get where we started, so I'm going to take this one out. This is where we started, and this is the last one here. 1, 2. And if you need to, you can go ahead and just stretch it out, back out to its shape. You want to make sure that your crochets are tight, but not so tight that your nest base will start curling up. So to help with that, I like to stretch my yarn out. So now we are on the second ring. So now we're going to do 1 single crochet, and then in the next crochet, we're going to do an increase, which is 2. So we're going to do 1 here, 1, and then in the next one, we're going to do an increase, which is 2. 1, back into the same hole, and that's 2. And we're going to follow that pattern. And then we're going to clip where we started, which is right here. So then we're going to do that again. So 1, loop through, then pull through. And then the next one is 2. 1, 2. And if you do need to stop and come back, always stop at 2. So that way you know whenever you get back into it, you just pick up back at 1 again. So now we're going back in for 1. and make sure you're going under both strands. 1, 2. And then I frequently pull it so that way I make sure that my crochets are nice and spaced out. Sorry for the dog hair. My dogs shed a lot and I can't help it. Okay, so that was just 1, and now we're going in for 2. 1, 2. 1, 2. 1. This one has 2. 1. And then this one has 2. And then we're back to our starting point, and then we're going to have a new ring form. So now what we're going to do for our pattern is going to do 1 single crochet, 1 single crochet, and then an increase. So 2 single crochets and then 1 increase. Make sure that when you lay it down, it lays flat. You're gonna go ahead and pull your yarn out if you need to, just so that way it's nice. So we're gonna do 1, 1, and then 1, 2. Mark our starting point. 1, 1, 1, 2. Here's 2. Here's 1 again. 1. And then 1, 2. And then 1, 2. So now we're still at 1. Your nest should look like this, with our center right here, and this is the hole that we did crochet through so we can make our first ring. Then here's another ring. Now we are on our 4th. So with that, we're going to start off with 1, 1, 1, and then we're going to do an increase. So 1 single crochet, 2 single crochet, 3 single crochet, and then on our 4th one, we're going to do an increase of 2 crochets. There we go. And then we're going to go ahead and follow that through. One single crochet, 2 single crochet, 3 single crochet, 4 with our increase. And now we're on to our next ring. Depending on how big you're wanting your nest to be is how many rings you're going to keep going for. So this base is already at 4 inches, and you can continue to increase following the pattern that we have been doing. So it was increasing all the way around, and then we did 1 single crochet, increase, 1 single crochet, increase, and then the next ring we did 2 single crochets, increase, 2 single crochets, and then an increase. And then for our next ring we did 3 increase, 3 increase. And you can keep following that pattern along if you would like a bigger nest, like so. This one is one of the larger ones that I have made. I think it is 5 inches across. Around 5 inches across, and it is 4 inches tall. This is just one of the larger ones that I've made, but for smaller ones, they do want them to be taller. So what I'm going to go ahead and show you is how to make it go upwards now. So what we're going to do, instead of going under just 2 strings here, we're gonna go under 4 here. So I'll show you from another angle. We're gonna go under this whole loop, this whole crochet right here. So we're going to see those, we're gonna find those little holes here. So there's the hole, there's the hole, there's the hole, and then there's one right here. It's just really hidden. And there's another one right here. And we're just gonna crochet into that top ridge up here. So we're gonna put our hook back through, and then we're gonna go right into this hole right here where my nail is. We're gonna loop, single crochet, and that's it. Under, we're gonna find this hole right here, under, pull through, single crochet, we're done. Under, through, single crochet. And we're going to do this all around, and we don't even need the clip anymore because we're going to do this continuously. And by the second round around, we're going to see the ridge being formed. So that way we can kind of see the walls beginning to form. And you still want to continue to stretch it out to make sure that it doesn't curl more than needed, because we already do have a small base. It is only the size of my hands, and that's not very big. So we do just want to keep our base nice and flat, but have the ridges begin to build upward. And you never want to go back into the same hole for a single crochet in this row. Since we're done with the base, we don't need to be increasing or anything, because when we're increasing, we're making it move upward. We're allowing it to get bigger. But in this case, we don't want it to get bigger. We just want it to build on top of each other. here we can kind of see where our ridge is forming up. We are now about to build on top of our first one. I'll check back in whenever we're about halfway done. Just checking in and have a couple of rounds complete here. And what I like to do to make it easier when I start crocheting my way up, I like to flip it inside out because I find it to be less straining on my hand. So it's still the same process. You're still going to go in between each of these little holes here and do a single crochet. But instead of having to try and open up the bowl, kind of, you're just gonna go around and around, and it won't be as straining on the hands, and you can go a lot faster once you get the hang of it. Okay, now that we are done, here is what it looks like. Should look something like this. And we're going to make a loop here so that way it doesn't fall out, just in case. Make it a pretty big loop. And then we're gonna go ahead and cut the yarn, but we're gonna leave a generous amount that we can sew in just so that way we make sure it's secure. And we have these down at the bottom, but we're going to kind of sew them in or weave their way in a second. And with this, you can fold it in half so it can be a little bit more snug if that's what they would like. So here it is. But I'm going to show you how to sew in the rest of the string left over. Okay. So what I like to do is secure this loose end by just pulling it through and then tightening it so it looks something like this. And then what I'm going to do is just kind of weave the rest of this down into my previous crochets. So it can be random. It doesn't have to be in any order or anything specific. I like to just kind of keep it towards the top, or if I bring it down in the bottom, to make sure it looks seamless and is blended very well. I do kind of want to go back over this. That's just my preference, just because I like to have it be smooth right here. You can barely even really see. It's very smooth. It's not just like a big hump of where we stopped our crocheting. So try to keep it very minimal. And then when I start to get towards the end, I like to loop it through twice, just so I know that it's very secure and it won't come loose. So I'll do 2 on one, and then I'll come to one that's near it, and I'll do 2 on it as well if I can, if the yarn allows me to. And then I'm just gonna find somewhere where I can weave both of these through. So we got the gray one through, and now we just have a little bit of excess white that we're going to find a home for. And there we go. I mean, you can barely even tell if I put it far away. This is where we stopped, and it kind of just trails on through. Now for the bottom, we're gonna do the same exact thing with both of them. And with that final thread, I'm gonna try and find somewhere to kind of hide it. Okay, perfect. So now we are finally complete. We are done with our bird nest now, artificial bird nest. This is the final product here. And because this is a smaller one, it probably will not take as long whenever you get the hang of it. But here we go. This is what the bottom looks like. And when you set it down from the side and then the bottom.